I'm doing better. If you've been paying attention, I haven't had a video for a little while. I'm on the long journey of getting a dental implant. And if you ever had a dental implant, you know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't, I hope you never have to have one. And God help you if you have any complications like I have. I have had 4 dental surgeries in the last year. And yeah, they're minor surgeries, but they're annoying. They're painful. I promised that I would start adding a little logistics segment to explain where I'm headed, how I'm getting there, and whatnot. So here you go. I'm on my way right now to the beautiful state of Nebraska. Why Nebraska, you say? Last year it felt like nearly, I don't know, every other person I met on the trails around the country mentioned the Cowboy Trail. And, you know, it doesn't seem like there's that many videos on YouTube about the Cowboy Trail, but anyway, I'm going to go do the Cowboy Trail. When I'm done with the Cowboy Trail, I'm going to head north, what would that be? Northwest to the Mickelson Trail. And I know a lot of you know the Mickelson Trail because I have gotten so many recommendations. Brian, you've got to go ride the Mickelson Trail. People have said this is one of the most beautiful trails in the country. Hey, West Virginia, check it out. There you go. That is my, what, 3rd state? Delaware, PA, Maryland, West Virginia. I won't sing. You know I'm getting ready to sing, right? I won't sing it. So, well, I'm driving, as you can tell. So part of the logistics of this is that I'm going to be sleeping in the van. I got a little mattress back there to sleep. You know, obviously I got my bike. Wayward Son is under a fitted sheet. It only took me like, what, 5 years to get that. You put a fitted sheet over your bike, it not only keeps it hidden, and it keeps any grease or dirt from getting on the rest of your stuff. But what's different in terms of logistics on this trip is, and I know this is going to be a shocker, I don't have a single reservation. Normally I plan things out and I know where I'm going to be on such and such a night. I'm going to be staying here, I'm going to stay in there. I have not done any of that. The reason being, I've mentioned another YouTube channel, Diego from Fly Scout Rider, probably my #1 go-to bike tourer. I got a chance to meet him a few months back. An incredibly nice guy, a great storyteller, and makes wonderful videos. You know, my first question to him when I met him was, how do you plan? He rides across the country. I mean, he's out for months. And I asked him, how do you plan your trips? And I'm putting words in his mouth, but essentially he said, I don't. And I found that fascinating. Maybe it just flies in the face of my personality. I feel like I need to have things planned out, and I took his advice to heart. So Diego, if you're watching this is all your fault. I'm stepping out of my comfort zone. The last thing, logistics-wise, is I am planning my route around trying to find as many muffler men along the way as I can find. If you know what muffler men are, they were fiberglass statues that were built back in the, I think, the late 50s for a muffler chain. And there's also a great YouTube channel called American Giants that I enjoy quite a bit. All right, that's the logistics. That's the intro to this. Please come along and enjoy. I promise you we're going to have history, famous people, bad jokes, and pointless stories. So stay tuned. All right, I'm out in the middle of nowhere. I'm supposed to be coming up on a, here it is. He's got a Big John. There's an original muffler man. There's a Uniroyal gal. And I don't know who that is. I've been kind of waiting for somebody to come out or whatever. I guess there's nobody around here. It's private property. I don't mean to trespass, but that's an original. See the hand up, hand down? That's where the muffler used to sit. All right, we're on the search for a Native American Indian dude. I see him. There he is. Awesome. That's what it's all about right there. Sense it, we're close. Oh, there he is. All right, Carl was awesome, as you can see. But you know why you talk to people in small towns? Just strike up conversation, because someone will say, like someone just did, oh, if you came to see that, then go down this block and you're going to see another roadside attraction. So I'm in pursuit. Oh, and by the way, the chocolate shake is awesome. Oh, all right. This is the campus of Illinois Wesleyan. There it is. It's ahead. All right, sorry, that was quick. I had to park illegally to go get the video there. All right, that was worth it. It's a head, and as I understand it, they customize the head, the students of the university. That's a good tradition. I like that. Welcome to Galva.
You've
All right, where are you? Ah, there it is. There it is. All right, it's starting to rain here, but I don't know what's in this building. If anybody knows, there's a bunch of McDonald's like statues. Ronald McDonald and a bunch of stuff in there. Hamburglar? I don't know what it is. I can't find anything online. All right, I've been here once. I had no clue this was going to be on the route today, but this is the world's largest truck stop on I-80. And if you ever come through here, you need to stop. This is something else. Go. And I thought we were already in Nebraska. I thought I slept in Nebraska last night. I did not. Finally in Nebraska. Woohoo!
They ride past fields and streams under the big sky. In the morning's chill they hear the wild geese bright cry. His boots clip in, his hands hold tight. Life sheds its weight, feels light. Through winding paths and rivers wide they'll roam. For the cowboy trail is where they feel at home. Brian rides the cowboy trail, clear skies above. His trusty bike, wayward son, they roll and shove. With the wind upon their face, they feel alive. Just a man and his machine out for a ride. He says this road is our frontier, no need to rush. Every pedal stroke brings serenity, the world's hush.
Can you see that guy back there? He just stopped me to let me know that the trail's closed. What does that mean? That's not good. It's closed. Well, that means there's a detour somewhere. So let's hope. It's gonna be closed starting April 3rd. Well, that was recently. There is a detour. There we go. Oh, that was painless. I didn't even have a car pass me. All right, something is closed down there. I don't know what it is. It said erosion. I don't want to find out firsthand. All right, new segment. This is a viewer contest. I just came up with this. I want viewers to submit a word to describe the first 10 miles of a bike tour. You know, when you just happen to be on the bike and you're pedaling away and the weather's beautiful, no soreness. Come up with a word. The winning word or words, what's the prize gonna be? I haven't thought about it. I don't know what it'll be, but for sure your name and the word will be announced in the next video. So for all the world, for all eternity, or at least until we have some electronic impulse that fries our infrastructure. Let's hope not. All right, you game? Get your creative juices flowing. Give me a word. All right, quick logistics. I realize I kind of skipped it. Cowboy Trail is 195 miles. It goes from the town of, all right, I gotta pronounce it correctly. It's spelled like, I mean, I'm from, you know, I live on the East Coast, so Norfolk, Virginia. It's spelled like Norfolk. But my buddy Kevin, when I told him I was coming out here, said it's pronounced, yeah, it's different. And Kevin, you're right. When I went to the gym this morning, I asked the guy at the desk, could you pronounce this name of this fine town? And it's more like Norfolk, like the utensil you eat with. Not completely fork, but it's not folk. So I'm gonna go with Norfolk. Anyway, it goes from Norfolk to Valentine. And I am going east to west. Actually, I'm also going west to east. There is a shuttle service. Oh, it looked like somebody's back there. There is a shuttle service. Nothing against the guy. It's just a little steep. So, since I got all the time in the world, I'm gonna ride out there, and then, well, if things go according to plan, I'm gonna ride back. So I just need to find a place to park the van. So on the forum, I will put the website that has excellent information for this trail. It's part of the Trail Hub network. If you've ever used those websites, they are fantastic. Anyway, I went on the forum, looked up overnight parking, And right there in Norfolk is the Tahazuka Park. And there is a place for overnight parking. The only thing it said on the website was to call the camp officials if you were going to park more than 3 days, which I am. And silly me, I arrived on Sunday this morning. Nothing's open. There's nobody to talk to. They said go to the camp office. I don't even know where the camp office was. So I spoke with the campground host, who's right next to the parking lot. That kind guy said he would look out for my car, look after the car, keep an eye on the car. That's what he said. So there you go, there's the logistics. I'm loving this trail already. Beautiful countryside. Detail I left out is that this is indeed a converted rail trail. This was the Chicago and Western something rail line, and when the rail line went down, they converted it. I believe it opened in 1996, so this bad boy's coming up on 30 years old. And like most rail trails, that means that towns are spaced out about every 10 miles or so, which is one of the many benefits of riding rail trails. You'll never be any more than about 5 miles away from a town if anything happens, as if you needed another reason to enjoy rail trails. All right, famous people. There's no way I could do Nebraska justice in terms of all of the fine people from the state. There's a lot. But you know me, I like to go through a list and pluck out some of the more off-the-wall references. And there are 3 really wonderfully off-the-wall people from Nebraska. I'll get to them tomorrow and beyond, but today is not an off the wall. Today is just a normal guy. Norfolk's favorite son, Johnny Carson. Everybody knows Johnny Carson, but you know what? Johnny Carson was a throwback to something that we used to call entertainers. Entertainers did everything, or at least they were expected to do everything. They're expected to sing and dance and tell jokes and, you know, whatever. That's Johnny Carson. He did everything. He did radio. He wrote. He was a comedian. And of course, we know him best for the host of The Tonight Show. When I got to watch The Tonight Show, it was a treat, because there were only 2 ways that I got to watch it. One was, I don't know, the parents, it was a special time, they just let me stay up. Or Mom went to bed early and Dad didn't care. Johnny Carson. You know, entertainers, we don't have many entertainers today. I was watching a documentary about Johnny Cash the other day. Johnny Cash was an entertainer. You know, he sang, but he also acted, and you know, he had a TV show. You know, who's today? I can't think of one. I got Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift sings and goes to football games. All right, if you're a Taylor Swift fan, don't send me hate mail. I got hate mail after my, not hate mail. I got some
flame mail after my Florida trip. All right, let's cover that quickly. I'm going to introduce a new segment, and that is making amends or clarifications on previous videos. When I was riding with Kevin through Florida, we came into a little town called Trenton, and there was a sign that said home of Easton Corbin, and I very flippantly said, does anybody know who Easton Corbin is? And I got about a dozen emails attempting to set me right. One person threatened to unsubscribe if I didn't spend some time listening to Easton Corbin, so I did. And I get it. I mean, country's not my thing, but he is a talented guy. I recommend these songs with a warning label on a song called Raising Humans. I was at the gym and I was listening to it, and I didn't really know what the song was about. And all of a sudden, it got about 2/3 of the way through and it hit me like a Mack truck what this song was about. And I had to exit the building and go cry like a baby in my van. I mean that. That song, you know, country music, lyrics are the greatest, but that is a tear-jerker song, or I'm just becoming an old softy. But Ride Along Adventures now endorses, recommends Easton Corbin. I'd play it right now if it weren't for copyright restrictions, but please go enjoy some Easton Corbin right here on good old YouTube. All right, did I cover everything? Yeah, famous people. Yep, there we go. Woo! Back to riding. What the heck? Are those plows? Those must, I think those are plows. All right. There they are. Okay. Hi. All right. Welcome to Tilden. Another detour, trail closed. All right, my watch just clicked over 60. I got about 17 more to go. Why so many today? That's a good question. I wanted to challenge myself a little bit. I've been doing, I don't know, between 40 and 60. And I just looked at the map, and there's a town up here called O'Neill. 77 miles for the day. I'm feeling it. I'm definitely feeling it. Oh well, it's beautiful out. Alright, this is Inman. I gotta get some water somewhere. I am out. And I've been out for a long while. Alright, 7 more to go. You know what's gonna get me through those 7 miles? Well, at least some of those 7 miles. So Nebraska, in terms of US history, Nebraska kind of came on the scene with the Louisiana Purchase, which the more I read about was kind of a conceptual transaction for 2 reasons. One is it's very vague in terms of the territory that Jefferson bought. So, you know, it's hard to say what part was in it and what wasn't. And the second part that made it hard, oh, sorry, it's kind of sandy right here. Okay, second part was there were always lots of people here. Obviously they were Native Americans, but there were the French, Spanish, British, and then a lot of new, well, early citizens of the US and immigrants from Europe trying to make a new life for themselves. They already had stuff going on. They already had a life. So, well, the land here was great for farming, great for cattle. So people came here, it grew. Finally in 1867 it became the 37th state. And today it's about 2 million residents of Nebraska. Of course, a lot of them live in Omaha and Lincoln. But I read a stat early this morning that 90% of the incorporated areas, cities, villages, towns, have fewer than 3,000 residents. So you know what that tells me? That tells me it's really spread out. I had a chance to go through, 8 or 9 of those little towns today. Beautiful. So there you go. Nebraska fun facts. And unfortunately that didn't even get me through a mile. So 6 more to go. I'm breaking my rules. Never supposed to count down. Don't ever count down. Morning. Well, it's kind of hard to see, but there's a big shamrock there. I'll have to get some better pictures off of Google to show it. But anyway, there it is. Well, yesterday was a good day. I pushed myself. For those of you that do 78 miles regularly or more, I take my hat off to you. That's not normal for me. Everything was sore last night. That's kind of a good feeling though, when you're kind of walking around stiff-legged. And I took a shower, I got a little something to eat, and I went to bed. I fell asleep answering an email. I was beat. The last 15 miles yesterday were tough. Really tough. And I was out of energy, I was out of fluids. My GoPro as well, maybe sympathetically, was out of juice. Ran out of batteries with about, I don't know, 5 miles to go. Because wouldn't you know, I came across the first cyclist I saw all yesterday. A gentleman named John. And I'm bummed out that the camera was dead because, well, I'll tell you his story now. So John is riding across the country on the Great American Rail Trail. If you don't know what that is, look it up. He is part of an organization called Warrior Expeditions. I love it. It's specifically to help returning soldiers who are reintegrating into civilian life. And it's kind of based on this, well, historical significance of soldiers coming home. If you look at, like, say, World War I, for example. Getting home was a long trip that involved, you know, walking, even hiking to get back home. And what that did was give them a chance to process what they had been through. And so that's what this organization is trying to do, is provide an opportunity for soldiers to go on a long journey. John, I looked up your bio, buddy, if you're watching this. Thank you for your service, John. And this is an opportunity to think about life. And we had about a 5-mile conversation, and, well, John is well on his way. Appreciation for this country, for the land, and well, I wish you well, John, and I hope that the rest of your trip is great. And yeah, look it up, Warrior Expeditions. Great group. You know, I've been noticing these cables attached to silos and things. This part of the country is known as Tornado Alley. A lot of tornadoes. Anyway, a lot of those cables, I saw a radio tower the other day, there was a ton of them around it. There's a lot of wind. It might not have picked up yesterday. I had a decent headwind for most of yesterday. This wind's sweeping across the plains. All right, a little bonus history, I guess. You know, a lot of yesterday and this morning, I've just been lost in thought, thinking about what must have been going through the minds of early settlers who came out here. You know, I look over these open plains and picturing a family in a wagon, covered wagon. What must have been going through their minds? Think of how brave those people were. You know, they get in their covered wagon, that's your wife and a couple kids in the wagon, some oxen in front, maybe a horse, rifle. And you take off across this prairie. I mean, I'm sure there must have been a lot of excitement, a lot of hope. I don't know how anybody could do this if they didn't have that. But I'm sure they were terrified at certain points. You know, I don't have a phone gonna tell them when a storm's coming. It's hot, it's dusty. You gotta go across a creek and you get stuck. Your wheel breaks. You don't have enough provisions to take you how far you thought you were gonna go. It's amazing. I was reading last night a specific thing about Nebraska. If you've been looking at the land out here, you know, there's not a lot of trees. In fact, far fewer than now. There have been many campaigns to plant trees across Nebraska. But when the settlers were to come through here, you know, maybe there was enough, certainly wasn't enough wood to build a whole log cabin. So what they would do is fashion a frame, and then they would build with sod, grass and dirt, and make sort of, you know, bricks out of it, and then build a house. I bet that was pleasant to live in. Another variation was what they called the dugout. Maybe you decide you're going to try to stay here and make a life of it, and you come up and there's a little hill, and they would dig into the hill and make a, you know, one-room home, live in the side of a hill. I take my hat off to you. My goodness, brave people, driven by the desire to make a new life for yourself. Just amazing. How you doing? First cyclist of the day. All right, Atkinson. You know, I just thought of a frequently asked question. I've been asked from time to time, you know, what do you do when you come across little towns? Do you stop at all of them? Do you just blow through them? And it's a good question, because I'll be honest, I feel kind of guilty just blowing through them. I almost always try to maybe just ride down Main Street, you know, up and down a few streets. You know, I said, all those years flying over this land and thinking, man, there's people down there and they live there and that's where they raise their kids and carry out their lives. I always feel kind of guilty if I don't at least see a little bit. And why? Well, there's a great example. I went down Main Street, I saw a hardware store, and I need to get some washers for my front rack. I lost a washer and I need one. So I went in the hardware store and bought some, and a gentleman comes up behind me in line, says, hey, is that your bike out front? I said, yeah. And 20 minutes later, great conversation, friendly guy. He's like, hey man, if you need to repair something, I got a garage down the street here with tools. And super nice guy. That's what it's about. So that's why you don't blow through little towns. I love it. I love to meet people. What a gift. Oh, I timed that well. I'm hoping that was just water. I got a good coating of it. Yeah, there's another water tower way out there. I don't know if the camera can see it. Next town. Welcome to Stewart. The sign over there said established, I think it says 1884. Clearly I need a trip to the eye doctor. You know, something else about this trail I didn't even notice till last night when I looked over my Garmin information. It's pretty steady grade. I was kind of getting on myself yesterday. I couldn't keep my speed up, and well, I understood why at the end of the day. How you doing? Yeah, you too. Woo. Close enough. All right, famous people. Today's famous person, well, he wasn't born in Nebraska, he was born in Iowa, but he lived most of his life in Hastings, Nebraska. If you go to Hastings, they will claim this gentleman, Mr. Edwin Perkins. He was born in 1880s, he died in 1961. And among his many talents, he was an inventor, and he invented a beverage, called it Fruit Smack. That's what he called it. It was a condensed liquid concentrate, and you'd dump it in a pitcher and add water, and well, there you go. And it was very successful, except, you know, like any good businessman, he wanted to increase his business, and the thing that was holding it back is liquids are heavy. So he started experimenting with how could he get rid of the liquid? How could he turn this into a powder? Concentrated powder. So he did. And he called it Kool-Aid. Yes, the little packets that, well, you can add as much or as little sugar as you'd like to the delight or torment of your children. My mother used to put a packet of Kool-Aid in a thermos container when we would go swimming in the summer, and then I think she'd put like one little sugar cube in it. Anyway, in Hastings, there is a Kool-Aid festival every summer. Kool-Aid days. And, well, now you know. It all began here in Nebraska. One little bit of extra trivia, the Kool-Aid Man wasn't introduced until he sold it to General Foods. So, well, you know, everybody knows the Kool-Aid Man. All right, there's your famous person, Edwin Perkins. Oh my gosh, I forgot one of the best parts. The state of Nebraska has 2 official beverages, milk and, yes, Kool-Aid. Can you believe that? It's true. One tip for this trail is to make use of shade when you find it. This trail is very much out in the open. All right, we got a lone cyclist up here. But what a small world, geez. She worked in a travel department that supported our company. Wow, small world. All right, here we are in the town of Bassett. All right, Ginger told me that there is a bar that I can get some liquid. All right. Look at that cool Phillips 66. Wow. Very cool. Wow, isn't this interesting? I feel like I should stop here. That used to be me. I used to sit up there and look down and wonder what was in this beautiful countryside. And little by little starting to find out. I'd rather be down here. You guys know which way it is, the Ainsworth? Ainsworth? I was misled. Now what? Thanks a lot, guys. It's the other way. The nice thing about backtracking is got the wind at your back. And you're going kind of downhill for a little bit. All right. This is where they said to keep going. Oh, man. I don't know what to do. The wind is relentless. I have been pushing into this for the better part of an hour. 7 miles an hour. Ah, one point. All right. I think back on track. Very cool bridge here. Don't tempt me. Don't tempt me. I'm not gonna lie. Today's been a tough day. Wasn't supposed to be tough. It's supposed to be 62 miles. And I passed that 9 miles ago. And I'm still probably 5 miles from town. But these are the times that try men's souls. What's that from? That Tale of Two Cities. Ah, well, you know, I don't plan these, but these kinds of rides are really good for you. They teach you to keep going, even when you want to stop. It's been beautiful. The countryside, unbelievable. The wind has been relentless. And the incline, I have definitely felt it today. Well, there's food up ahead. A lot of fluids. My lips are like feeling it. Chat. Bike tour. Woohoo! Ainsworth has a water tower. Woohoo! Ainsworth has 2 water towers. I've been seeing a lot of these restored gas stations. They're, you know, they're not in service, but that's pretty cool. Well, I was gonna try to ride down Main Street, but it is being resurfaced. This is a cool little town, Ainsworth. Well, I'm headed to the other end, Valentine, today. It's another 50 miles or so, the website says. Yesterday was supposed to be 62 and it was 73 miles. So let's hope today is on target. Coming up on the little town of Johnstown. I believe that sign said population 63. Oh man, I love main streets like this. How cool. How cool. There's a bank, general store, and a saloon. Johnstown Centennial. 1983. Time capsule is going to be open in 2033 and 2083. It's a fellow traveler. All right, what a treat.
This is the Bike Nonstop US.
Bike Nonstop US. All right.
Official hashtag, yes.
Oh, very cool. Okay. Well, and he just told me he's in the lead, so I don't want to hold you up, man. Good luck, dude. Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Oh, very cool. That's awesome. Oh, what a fun guy to talk to. He's on his way to DC. RideYourBike.com. Ride, Y-R, bike.com. And he's averaging about 180 miles a day. So I told him I needed to meet you. I'll stop complaining about my, 78 mile day. Ah, how fun. Andre, have a great trip, buddy. Cherry County, God's own cow country. I met a Native American woman yesterday at the supermarket, and I was commenting just how beautiful it is. And she said, "You are riding on God's sacred land." I said, "Right on." Right on, lady. Couldn't agree more. All right, welcome to Wood Lake. You know, I realized I've done a really bad job of talking about these little towns. This is very small, okay? But what's incredible about this is right here. This is the city park. And how awesome. You can camp here. This bathroom right there. There's some slides and swings if you so desire. And then you can just camp. Thank you, little towns. These little towns along the way really make this trail what it is. It's awesome. There's a city hall and post office. Rock on. You know, something I've been unable to capture on video, but I've lost count as to how many times it's happened, is how many people honk from the road and wave. Not a mean honk, not a meh, more like a meh, meh, and then they wave. Just being friendly. For example, very first day, this is the stuff that happens when the cameras aren't going. Silver truck flew by me on the highway, and he friendly honked. He frunked at me and waved, and I waved back. I thought, ah, how nice. About an hour later, I look up and I see this same silver truck coming the other direction, except he pulls over to the shoulder, jumps out of his cab, runs across the little grassy area, and standing there on the trail with a bottle of water. And he said, "Yeah, I stopped to get a bottle of water, and I thought I'll get another one just in case I run into that cyclist." Incredibly nice. You know what else? I'm a bad judge of age, but I would guess that guy was, I'm gonna guess he was 25. Blonde hair, cowboy hat, t-shirt, jeans, cowboy boots. What a good man. He's no idea. Guy has no idea what that meant. I needed a bottle of water at that point. What a super nice guy. And this trip has been full of that. I could tell, well, 4 or 5 other stories. I'll save them. But friendly people out here. If I haven't said so far, I'm a fan of Nebraska. There's a fan club, I'm gonna join it. All right, I think it's time for a famous Nebraskan. Today's famous person is named Clifton Hillegas, or Hillegas. You see the spelling, you pronounce it how you want. He was born in Lincoln, lived his life in Lincoln, 1918, and died in 2001. And well, he worked for a distributor of textbooks, college, high school, you know. And in his dealings, he happened to come across a Canadian company that had these abbreviated study guides of Shakespearean plays. And he started distributing them, and they were a hit. And Clifton, being a enterprising man, said, well, it's cool for Shakespeare, but what about other famous literature? What about other books? What if we did some study guides, or as he started calling them, notes, Cliff notes? And he packaged them in these distinctive yellow and black editions, and well, they were a huge hit. I can personally attest, my senior year I could not get through Wuthering Heights. That's Jane Austen. But the Cliff Notes version helped me to get an A+, as I recall. Sometimes I think I should go back and read Wuthering Heights just to atone for my character flaws. Nothing against Cliff Notes. Clifton Hillegas, you're the special person of the day, because you have helped many a person to get the salient points of fine literature, and therefore you are our famous person of the day. Hey Thomas, this is a request. I'm getting dive bombed by these black birds with red shoulders. They're up in the trees, and whenever I pass under the trees, a group of them come out and they like swoop down. And I keep thinking they're gonna smack into my helmet. Do you know what they are?
Hey Brian, these are red-winged blackbirds. These birds are known to swoop at people. Especially at this time of year when they have young ones in the nest. But don't take it personally, they're just trying to protect the young ones.
You know, I don't know what I'm smelling every now and then, but there's something like incredibly sweet in the air. Maybe like a honeysuckle. I read a sign yesterday that said that they use the greenways off of this trail for pollinators, for bees and butterflies. They plant wildflowers. It's a wonderful smell. That is so cool. You know, in another life, that would have been, oh crap, I almost just rode off the trail. Oh jeez. In another life, that would have been a goal, to have a ranch with a sign entry like that. Awesome. Well, I'm almost to the top of this grade, and then it is downhill into Valentine. I think I got another 10 or 15 to go. I don't know what the grade has been, but it's been very steady. But between that and the wind, it's been a good workout, I'll tell you. Probably makes the case for going west to east. a cat jumped up out of the brush. He ran, he jumped up over that fence, and I have not seen him. He is chilling out over there. I don't know if it was a bobcat or a mountain lion. He looked fairly big. I don't think I'm going to wait around to see what it was. I guess it makes sense he would be there. There's some little ponds that I saw some fish jumping in, and doesn't look like there's a lot of water out here other than that. So, well, yes, I'm going to be looking over my shoulder, and yes, I have picked up the pace a little bit. Oh, I'm so tempted to jump in there. It's been really hot today. There's no shade. In the words of Kevin,
that felt good.
You know, periodically, you'll look out on a, play the thing. You'll look out on the horizon and you'll look at what almost looks like sand dunes. And then you think, maybe I'm getting dehydrated and seeing things. But you're not! There's a lot of sand in the soil. It was held a farm way back. But there are sand dunes here. And why? Well, different prehistoric times, they believe that this was a ocean, a big seaway that covered a lot of the interior of the US. And so what's left today, well, you see it, bunch of sand. Kind of got to be careful on the trail, because every now and then, you know, your back tire will start fishtailing, and front tire will go into a very little sandy bit of, you know, unpacked surface here. So anyway, now you know. Cool sign. Here comes the bridge I've been hearing about for 190 miles. Oh, this is way cool. Wow, this is quite a drop. What a great way to finish the ride. My gosh, that was incredible. Hey, good morning. We got a little grade out of Valentine, but the joy of heading back is basically getting to go downhill all the way to Norfolk. Which, by the way, I had the two people at the desk yesterday pronounce that name, and I still don't think I'm getting it. Anyway, I began my day with a little bit of temptation. I went to go have a little breakfast this morning in the lobby of the establishment I stayed in last night. I did laundry. Yesterday was laundry day. Anyway, a couple walks in and I recognized them. They came in a really beautiful RV. You know, some of those RVs are, wow. I don't know, the weird thing is when people in an RV stay in a hotel or motel. I don't know, maybe somebody could explain to me what's up with that. I don't know, maybe they're doing the same thing. Maybe they had to do laundry. Anyway, we got to talking, as per usual. And, well, they offered to drive me all but 50 miles of this return trip. And I'm just confessing here, I thought about it. I thought about it. Not for very long, but you know. So, you know, I haven't been on this trail very long. How many miles? 5 miles. And I'm glad I'm out here. Nebraska is beautiful. Okay, one heads up, I'm not gonna record as much footage going back. So don't be surprised if this little segment is short, but you know, it took me 3 days to get up here. I don't know what it's gonna be like going downhill. I might take 3 days going back. I might take 4 days going back. We'll see. Anyway, enjoy the footage that I do take, please. So after 3 days of pretty strong headwind, here I've turned around and I got a headwind. And it's probably stronger than any other day. How does that work? You know, I totally missed this sign on the way here. Look at those distances. There's a ranch that's 9 miles down that road. Wow. Morning. I just swallowed a grasshopper. It flew in my mouth and kept going. Oh, jeez. Yes, it's disgusting. No, I shouldn't share it on YouTube, but I'm gonna. So that water tower's been looming out there for a while. Just for the record, you know, there's towns every, I don't know, 7 to 10 miles, like most rail lines. This section between Valentine and, well, this town, I don't remember the name of it, pretty good stretch. It's 24 miles with nothing in between except beautiful wide open expanses. Oh, that's cool. Those guys over there were telling me that they have this book that you can record where you're from, and he said they had one that was about twice as thick. Some kids were playing and accidentally left it in the grass, and the guy came through mowing and ran over what was like 10 years worth of records. I would have gotten back on the swing, but those fellas were watching. You know, I've been convinced over the years that if you really want to know what people think about stuff, there's two people I rely on: taxi drivers and bartenders. I think of all the millions of dollars that are spent in marketing, doing, you know, whatever, focus groups, and you could stop in right there at the Johnstown Saloon, and I don't care what the topic is, that lady and her husband are gonna set you straight. Oh my gosh, that was a half hour well spent. And for the record, I just had a Gatorade and a water, okay? It just turned noon, so just to be clear. All right, there is a little shade. I believe I mentioned it yesterday. Make use of the shade. It's hot. It's on its way up to 92. All right, it's 1:30. It's 92 degrees. There's no shade. It's pretty brutal. I'm trying to potentially get another 18 to 20 miles in. And I know what I'm doing. Subconsciously, I'm playing a little game. And that game is, if I make it to Bassett, I'm opening myself up to a 3-day return trip instead of 4. That's what I'm doing. I know it. It's all subconscious though. Because when I woke up this morning, I said, I'm gonna go back in 4 days. But Brian inside, inner Brian, is trying to get this done. That's the struggle. That's the struggle between inner and outer Brian. Anyway, you know when it's that hot where the horizon has that pink tinge to it? Yeah, that's what's going on today. One little tidbit is that, there's a sign, detour. That trail is closed. There's a bridge that is missing. You know that because you watched the earlier part of this video. So the sign back there said 10 miles to Bassett, which sounds like good news, but I don't think it's 10 miles. I think it's like 14 miles with the detour. Anyway, I think I got it in me. So I'm gonna go for it. missed the turnoff. There's the trail. And it keeps going. Oh, maybe I can slide back over there. All right. Now all is well with the world. All right, we got about 7 more miles, and that is just enough time for all right, today's famous person, famous Nebraskan gentleman named Carl Anton Svensson. Mr. Svensson was a Swedish immigrant to the United States back in the day, and during that long journey somehow his last name got changed. I think that happened to lots of immigrants. Carl made his way to Nebraska to join a growing community of Swedish immigrants, farmers, and he started a business in wholesale food distribution. He was very successful. And when he passed away, he handed off the company to his sons, who were also hardworking, entrepreneurial guys. One of the things that they got plugged into with food distribution was making little pre-made vacuum-sealed meals that could be used on the airlines. And it was very popular, and they were very good at it. But you know, they weren't content to just rest on their laurels. Around that time, the TV started becoming really popular. And, you know, it was quickly becoming, as it is today, kind of a meeting place. Family gathers around the TV. So they had this idea, what if we took those airline meals and distributed them to families that wanted to gather around the TV at night? Hey, let's call them TV dinners. So let's back up the train. Mr. Svensson's name got changed. You guessed it. Can you guess? Swanson. Swanson TV dinners. I used to love them. Do you remember those? I don't know. For me, they were always a special time when to have a Swanson TV dinner. You know, my parents would go out on the town and leave my siblings and I as ruffians at home with a babysitter. And she'd pull those incredibly hot tinfoil pans out of the oven. And you'd open them up and, you know, come on, turkey dinner or Salisbury steak. But if you were like me, you ate the little dessert first, the little apple cobbler or whatever that was the temperature of the sun. You ate that first, right? I haven't had a Swanson TV dinner in forever. I think when I get back to my home state, I'm gonna go out and buy one and sit around the TV. Well, they weren't sure that the TV dinner was gonna take off, so they made about 8,000 of them for distribution. If you go to the corporate website, they point out that they sold 10 million in the first year. Good stuff. Welcome to Bassett. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Yeah, this must be it. And look at that. There is a community swimming pool. If I can make that work. Good morning. Maybe I should just say morning. I am riding into a crazy headwind right now. It's a heck of a way to start the day. Just slogging. Oh my gosh, I can't keep the bike on the trail. That wind comes up, pushes into these veneers. Doing 7-8 miles an hour. Do you ever just feel like headwinds are just, they're so unfair? It's like, come on, man. I'm out here trying to ride. Let me ride. Slack a little bit, but it hasn't. It's gotten stronger. It's literally blown me off the trail into the grass. It kind of gets a hold of these front panniers and just pushes the handlebars to the right. Where was this wind when I was going the other way? Oh yeah, it was blowing in my face then too. Number one. Oh man. Back in Stewart, I stopped at a gas station to get some more fluids. By the way, it's died down a little bit, and it has turned into a crosswind. So heck, I'm doing 9 miles an hour, which is a lot better than 5. Anyway, back at the gas station, gentleman on a motorcycle. He walked over, put his hand on my shoulder, and he said, "How are you doing today?" And I said, "I've been better." He said the wind was whipping him around too. I bet, man, if you're going 55 on a motorcycle in a 40-mile-an-hour gust. Wow. All right, well, if the wind stays a crosswind, you know, I'm gonna have a 10-hour day on the bike. If it would just turn around and blow the other way. With the gusts that had been, I'll be there in a couple hours. I don't think that's gonna happen. Can I get a drink in this town? The answer to that question is no. Everything is closed. All right, the final push to Ewing. I am dead, but somehow I am still going. Ewing is 13 miles. If I don't slip in the sand here and crash. You know, sometimes I have a feel for what footage I've taken during a day. You know, I kind of have a idea maybe of the theme of the day, or what I was reflecting on, or what I saw. Today was about survival. I don't mean to be overly dramatic. I forced myself to take a little video about 2 hours in, which was 6 hours ago. I was sitting along the trail. The wind was blowing crazy, 20 miles an hour, and I wanted to remind myself what it felt like to kind of be hopeless. And well, anyway, today goes to the top of the leaderboard of most difficult rides I've ever had. I mean that. The previous top of the list was day 4 of Ragbri 2000 last year, 2023. I know a lot of you did it. It was the day from Des Moines to I forget. Anyway, it was like 93 miles and it was like 100 degrees. Okay, it's just been bumped to number 2. Woohoo! Ewing. Clear water. Valentine River. Just for the record, I'm going 3 times as fast as I was yesterday at this time. Eli, 1873. Drive-in movie theater. Ah, there's the trail. Wow. I was beginning to see, wonder where it was. There it is. It's been hiding behind the grass. Alright, if I haven't said so yet today, I'm loving Nebraska. Loving it. It brings back a memory. Buckle up. Elementary school. Yeah, it's funny. I've mentioned Mrs. Stiles so many times in videos, and I really don't know why. She left quite an impression on me. I think the reason was she was kind of a badass of a teacher. She and her husband traveled the world I had her for 4th and 5th grade. And in the year, summer between, you know, we're talking Cold War here. She and her husband went to Moscow. I remember a photo, clear as day, as her standing in front of, what's that called? The Kremlin? You know, the buildings with the creamy whip top. Remember the old state report? My school, you know, you had to pick your state. There's no doubling up. Everybody had to do their own state. And you'd write a letter to the state Chamber of Commerce or something, and you'd say, hey, I'm a poor pathetic student, and will you please send me some information on your state? And sure enough, you know, a few weeks later you'd get an envelope in the mail, and here would be tourist brochures and, you know, all kinds of stuff. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself. You know, on state selection day, you have to pick your state. And seeing as I was a W, you know, we often went by alphabetical order. You know, isn't it funny how alphabetical order is like deemed as fair? If you're Aaron Hardvark, Aaron Aardvark loves alphabetical order. I never knew anybody named Aaron Aardvark. There were 2 brothers that I went to school with. No, they weren't brothers. Their names were Williams. They weren't related. They were the only ones probably worse off than me. All right, am I ever gonna finish this story? Okay, again, I figured I was gonna be last. So, Mrs. Stiles' wall was a huge US map. And I remember looking up the map saying, ah, Brian, just pick one, come on. You're not gonna get one of the magical states like Florida or Alaska, Hawaii. So just pick one. And I thought, what about that state? Man, it's almost in the middle. Looks like a cannon. That would be a cool one. Well, it turns out I wasn't last. In fact, I think I was one of the first. And I just blurted out, Nebraska! And, well, you could hear a pin drop. And then there were little giggles. Just reinforcing something not right about that boy. Well, I did the report. And dear Mrs. Stiles, I never forgot. She traveled all 50 states, and she said, you know, Brian, of all the states, Nebraska was one of my favorite, and I hope you get a chance to go there someday. And over the years, it's just funny. Every time I see Nebraska in the news, football, tornadoes, whatever, I've always remembered that comment. Hope you get a chance to see it. Well, Mrs. Stiles, wherever you are, it took almost 50 years, but I'm here, and I couldn't agree more. Absolutely beautiful. I just stopped at a fundraiser at the local car wash. The kids are trying to raise money for what they call a splash pad. I have no idea what a splash pad is. I'm gonna have to look it up. But I'll tell you what, nothing hits like a fundraiser hamburger. Wow. Good stuff. honest, these things freaked me out. Metal Grove. Creek, 1,200 people. All right, down to a few miles. I've just been reflecting on this trip, and I was thinking about the end of the first day. I rode with a guy named John. I asked him what he learned so far in his trip, and he said having his faith in humanity restored. That's a heck of a thing to say. I know what he means. Something about bike touring. You get the privilege of seeing people acts of kindness, and you just don't get a chance to see. Think back to that kid. It stopped to give me a bottle of water. It's a privilege. Total privilege. And yeah, I'm glad I'm wearing shades right now. Great ride. Great ride. What a privilege. Hope you enjoyed it. I sure did. Nebraska, you're awesome. I love you. Ooh, I gotta stop that. On to the next adventure.